that correct? All right. Global Hiker, and I will let them take over.
Thank you to the few of you guys that showed up today. So I'm Alex Winkler with Global Hiker, and this is Logan Muzzy.
My name is Logan Muzzy.
Just before we begin, I'm just going to play a quick video.
Try holding the mic up to it.
Bear with me. Well, I'm just going to stop that because I don't think anyone can hear it. Okay, I'll just get into it then. Okay, so what Global Hiker is, in essence, what that video is trying to convey is we are like Uber and Airbnb in essence. So what we're doing is, instead of lodging or driving, so what we're doing is we are linking up travelers with locals for local experiences or tours. One thing that I really think needs to be changed in the travel industry is that they haven't adapted to current technology, and that's what we are trying to do. So, as it says up here, so we're a platform that facilitates this. So one of the reasons why I started Global Hikers, I'm an avid traveler. So I've been to over 25 countries in the last 4 or 5 years or so. I just got back from Europe 2 months ago and did a 7-country trip in a month, and it was very exhausting. And one of the things is I just learned so much about myself through travel. I've studied abroad, done independent travel, I've met other people, and I just met other people there, and I just think it's been just a great opportunity. So these are just some of the pictures I've taken along the way.
So next, we're going to get into some of the problems that we think the Global Hiker are solving. The first problem would be the price point of traveling. For a lot of people, traveling is not an opportunity that they get to have just due to the lack of funds, and this is something we're looking to solve. A second is inconvenience. Planning travel is actually pretty difficult. We're looking to streamline the process, as well as an impersonalized travel experience. You may be getting to go to a certain country or a certain city, but you're looking for a travel experience that really suits you as an individual, and that's where the Global Hiker comes in. So these are our solutions. First, being the lower price point. Using the shared economy model allows us to kind of cut some of the costs that may occur when using a traditional travel agency. So we kind of take out the middleman. The middleman is your device. That's how we like to see it. Next being the convenience. Global Hiker wants to streamline the process of travel. We want travel to be as easy as possible so that everybody can acquire these travel experiences. The last being our personalized travel experience. So the Global Hiker utilizes the shared economy model, linking travelers with other local guides based on their characteristics. We call these boots. Their interests that the individual may have. This is so you select your boots when signing up for the Global Hiker, and when matched, we would like to match our tour guides with the individual, the tourist, based on these interests or characteristics.
So as what Logan was just talking about, something called boots. This is really where the personalization comes into play. So we have 12 of them to start. And once you sign up, so on your profile page, or your passport rather, you would pick 3. So whether you're really into culture, you'd be a culture passenger, or you like to go hiking or camping, outdoorsy, adventure seeker. So maybe you want to go skydiving or jump off a cliff or do something that spikes your adrenaline. Underground tourist, that would be someone who really likes to go behind the scenes that maybe they don't offer something on Google that a local would only know. Then a budget traveler. I just graduated from Mizzou back in December, so now I'm about to pay off my student loan. So I would kind of be in that category. I want to save a little bit of money during my trip. Sightseer. That's anyone that wants to see the big stuff in the city. So here in St. Louis, the Arch, or if you're going to London, Big Ben, it's some stuff like that. Next, foodie, pretty obvious if you're really into food. Music collector, if you like going to concerts, if you play an instrument. Art appreciator, if you like going to museums. Sports, if you're really into sports, you want to play a pickup game, or you want to go see the Cardinals play or something like that. A learner, let's say you want to learn how to cook Japanese food. Well, we can have a tour guide teach you that, or you can learn a new skill. And then finally, drink enthusiast, whether you love coffee or you like beer, that's for that type of person. So now I'm going to get into what our MVP looks like currently. So we have, the beta is very, very close to being completed. I would say about 3 weeks away, but this is what we have so far, and I took some screenshots. So this is what the login would look like. You just log in through Facebook or Google, and this is what the traveler would look like. We're looking to make this a little bit more simple, but at the top you can sign as a guide, and it'd be kind of reversed. So once you sign in, then you go to your passport page. So your passport page would have, to edit your email and your password, it would have your name, your age, your origin, so where you're from, your languages, so that way you can meet up with a guide that speaks your language or vice versa, so they know how to converse with you, profile picture, and then your boots, and then any travel photos you want to add. And then up at the top right-hand corner would be your bio, and that's pretty important because coming shortly, it'll show you, it shows you like how to match up. So it'll pop up when you're looking for a guide or when the guide is viewing your own profile. And then just show some places that you've been and some places that you want to go next. So then next, as you see the 6 notification on your trips, these are places that I've requested to go. And once the guide accepts, it'll go into the accepted folder, completed, and then canceled. So it just shows a little bit of preview of what you've got upcoming. Because one of the big things about travel is anticipation. I know a lot of you guys, if you've done a trip, obviously you're looking forward to it. So next, you go into the trip planning process. So you would go and type in where you want to go, and then just put a quick little memo of some of the things you want to see, the date, how many people are going with you, and then the number of hours. And the number of hours is important because that's how the expenses for the trip get shown, because it's a per hour basis. Then, and then you can just put a memo of some of the specifics. So like in Columbia, Missouri, these are some of the things I would want to do, and then they get highlighted on the map. And then you go to submit, and then the tour guides in the area will pop up. So we've got Jacob, Brad, and Katie, and Bill. These are some of the people that are in Columbia at the moment. So I picked Bill, and he has raised at 15 per hour with his bio, his rating. So in his previous tours, he's averaging a 4, as well as his boots and where he's from. So then when I clicked on him, I went to a messaging system. So you can say, hey, this is where I want to meet up, and you really plan your trip there. So now obviously our revenue stream. So the way we're going to make money from this is through each tour. We're just going to take around 15 to 25% of each tour going on. So we would take that, and the rest would go to the guide. And then partnerships, we would like to partner via social media, is to be kind of an influencer once we get a community built through our Instagram or Facebook. And then advertisements, that can come later down the road through our pins. Maybe local businesses would want to get on our map that they could get a little bit more influence through. So here's just a sample of our competitive analysis. So viable tours by locals and Lonely Planet. As you can see, so we're a web-based travel service. We've got that customizable travel model, so meaning you can literally pick anything that you want to do, the time, the date, what you want to see, your boots. this is really geared towards millennials because millennials really like to choose their own destiny. I mean, everyone really does, but right now with the travel industry, everything is very standard, and I think people want to have more of a say in that. We do have evidence to back that, or info to back that up. Shared economy model, just like Uber and Airbnb, and then local guides, and then our iOS and Android application that will be worked on once we get this completed. So next, so we're looking for local guides. So that's one of the big processes right now. Obviously, you can't have an application without guides or vice versa. So it can be kind of a tricky process to go through, but that's what we're working on right now. We have about 70 people signed up to be guides, which is looking promising. We've got about 30 in the last 3 days, which is really cool. So we're starting to get a snowball effect. So yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. So we're looking for local guides. We're looking to find developers on our team, or to add to our team, and yeah, to lock down some funding. So yes, like I said, I'm Alex Winkler, and that's Logan, and we're Global Hiker, where travel meets tech. So thanks for listening.
Does this work? All right, well, no, you guys, so we're gonna now ask you a few questions. The first question, which you kind of said, well, you kind of touched on, was, the question we always ask is, what can the community do for you? And you talked about funding, you talked about travel guides, and would that be it? And do you want to elaborate on those, or are you just content with those two?
Well, and a few developers as well. So we've got 2 in training. So we're developing our application on Ruby and Ruby on Rails. So we won a pitch competition in Colombia, and we got $5,000 back in October, and we used that to build our beta. So we've kind of been stuck on that since January 1st, because that's when we ran out of funds. So ever since then, we've kind of just been working on making our team more lean and building up our business plan and portfolio. So that's where we're kind of at. So we're looking to get more developers in our team so we can really get to market. And the thing is, we're so close to getting to market. Like I said, about 3 weeks. So we're looking for these local guys to sign up. I mean, they can pick their schedule. They can use this as a part-time job or temporary gig. Just looking for people that know a lot about the city. And the way we're kind of going to be vetting those people is through background checks, obviously, and like a resume and a video cover letter.
Okay, so other questions?
All right,
I have a couple questions. If I could just monopolize this for a minute. My first question is, are you planning on starting in a couple cities, or are you going to have an immediate global rollout in the next couple weeks?
Right, yeah, so we have an expansion plan kind of laid out. I think as far as that goes, what we're going to do is we're going to collect as much guide data as possible, but we're definitely going to just start city by city right now, and we'll just have it like password protected until maybe that city's available for guides to sign up.
Okay. So my next question about like recruiting guides is, have you thought, you go to different cities, like I go to New York a lot, and we take a lot of food tours, and those guides are obviously not, it's not their full-time job, you can't food tour all the time, but have you thought about kind of finding those people like that, or people that, lead architecture tours and things like that, and seeing if they would be interested in coming on as your guides? I think it would be pretty much a ready-made knowledge base for you.
Right. Yeah, I think that would definitely be a good avenue to approach. Right now, our full focus is on just getting as many guides as possible, and then as well as developing. So I think once we get a little bit further down the road, we'll start maybe picking through some of those individuals that's kind of like their second type of job, or people that are unhappy in other touring services and try to bring them on board. I think once we can get some funding in, we can maybe give them some perks that will sway them our way.
And I guess lastly, have you thought about, so like with these,
Yeah. Cutting it. Just speak loudly.
I probably broke it.
I can hear you.
All right. So I guess kind of with these smaller, more specialized tour companies. Have you thought about a partnership with them? So like say a partnership with a food tour company in New York. Like here in St. Louis, I follow this food tour company on Instagram. Like to kind of, I don't know how this would work for you revenue-wise, but to start off with maybe things that people want to do and like connect them to that. Because sometimes those are hard to find if you don't already know that they exist.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. I think once we finish our beta phase, then we would go that route. I think we really need to figure out where we stand and check out how our community is. But after that, definitely partnership would definitely be a viable option.
So I had a similar question, but different. So if you had the opportunity for strategic partnerships between like an Airbnb or Uber, which one of those would you like to use to like help proliferate this forward?
Right, so it's interesting that you asked that question. So back in November, Global Hiker got accepted to pitch in Los Angeles at Tech Week. And at that same exact time, across the street, Airbnb launched their beta called Airbnb Experiences. So right now they became our #1 competitor. But the one thing that we're differentiated from them is their standard. They've standardized tours. So we've got the local aspect, and they've got the shared economy model, and they've got a big following, but they don't have the customization and the boots, and more the approach that we're heading. So I would not partner with them, but Uber could be a good partnership down the road.
I think this microphone.
I'll just-
yeah.
Some tours, like if you're gonna do a museum or some other place, I haven't been to Europe or anything, but I know sometimes you have to have a license to give a tour there or some kind of certification. So I guess would each local tour guide have to go through that process to do that? Or like she said, you just have to kind of like link up with the already established tour.
Right, that's something that I don't have the exact specifics, but that's something I looked into. And due to the nature of how we're like conducting our tours and how everyone would be like independent contractors, we would actually bypass the need for a license. So, I mean, that's one thing that Uber is really struggling with right now. I know I'm in St. Peter's and they are banned in St. Peter's because of that same reason, but we would bypass that. I would definitely have to check maybe city by city, but I know for the most part that wouldn't be an issue.
You're up.
Me?
Yes.
So I'm a Google local guide. I'm wondering if you've looked at the Google local guides, and if you haven't, that might be an opportunity for you. Because like as a local guide, and I specialize, right, in camping and campgrounds,
Right.
but
So you'd be an outdoorsy booth.
right. So, but I would, that I could see that benefiting, that would be a way for me to both earn a small amount of revenue and continue my local guide status. Because I don't get paid to be a local guide, but I get other things, right? I get cred. So.
Okay. No, yeah, I think you should give me a little bit more information about that afterwards, about what those credits are and stuff.
I have a quick question about the feature that slides with the competitors.
Yeah.
So you kind of make yourself, you can do all those features, but have you tested any of those features, core feature you think the customer really care? If customers don't care the feature at all, then you waste your time trying to add on those features. And plus, have you do any analysis how the competitor, why they just choose that feature? Because they tested with their customer, because they think that's the thing they really want.
No, that's a really good question. So we're going to be analyzing that a little bit more once we get our beta out. We haven't added all those features, like for example with the iOS and Android app, that will come after our web application. And a lot of those are maybe forward thinking. Maybe maybe some of those companies are in the same boat or not. We've got a couple economic guys on our team that are kind of working through some of those, and I think we'll see it with the beta as well.
So, I mean, any startup is based on assumption, and you
Right.
this will become true, and then people
Right.
want it. But I mean, have you think about it? Hold on, the engineering team to building on the software that you think people want. Can you use your customer have sign up and tell with the local guy just to test without the platform to support them. Use you guys as the founder and directly support them and then just do the testing and measure whether your assumption will work or not. And then you get a feedback from them. So I think that way will probably will help you save your money and your time to trying to build something maybe people will not want it.
Right.
So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point.
Yeah,
With our MVP model, I mean,
kind of need that's a lean model.
Right.
You should test, and since you can test, you can use the local guide, and then the customer you sign up, and then you become the consider to help them to facilitate, and then you test what they really want. I mean, after the things they will tell you the feedback, and then you try to build the thing the customer really like.
right, yeah, I mean, I agree with what we have right now. I mean, that is our MVP. With those features, those would be within the next couple of years or so. So we'd be starting out now as linking up travelers with local guides, but our final destination would be like a one-stop shop for everything travel, whether that be a travel social media, or whatever that looks like. And we've got kind of a plan set forth for that. But right now, just with our MVP model, we think it's pretty lean starting out.
Last question.
Yeah, hey Alex, Mike, I have two questions for you. One had to do with the tour guides, particularly in foreign areas. Do you vet those, or do you have any plans to do that, or do you get them from, other than the ones that sign up, do you get them through some list that certifies them? Is there such a thing? And then the other question I had to do with monetizing your idea. I don't know if I heard you talk about how you're going, is it subscription-based, advertising, how are you going to make money out of this?
Right, yeah. So I touched on both of those briefly. The first one, no, you're fine.
Talking to you.
Yeah.
The first one with the vetting, so there's a team, a company called Checker, and Uber and Airbnb uses that for their guides or their drivers.
Okay.
So it's a background check company for startups and now more prevalent startups like Airbnb and Uber.
Is that
which are
just
not companies.
domestically or overseas as well?
Both.
Okay.
It becomes a little bit more costly once we go international, obviously. But after we would go through Checker, it would take about 24 to 48 hours to get that background check in. After that, we would do send in a resume and then do a video cover letter, and then maybe just a quick couple-minute interview. And then once that gets set in place, we set them free. And then one of the things that Uber and Airbnb does is they use the star system. So if they fall below a certain star, you'll be fired and you won't be able to use their service again. So hopefully that keeps them in check. We're thinking maybe around, if you fall below like a 3.6, you won't be able to use it anymore. And then going on to your second question about revenue, we've got about 3 different avenues, but just for our MVP model, what we'll be doing is taking 15 to 25% out of each tour, and then the rest will be going to the guides. So the platform would just get that.
25% out of what?
Each guide,
Okay.
or like each tour,
Okay.
and then the rest would go to the guide.
Okay.
And then later down the road, we would kind of be, once we build a community, we'd want to be maybe like an influencer on our social media. And for example, let's say Carnival Cruise Line is looking to promote, we can do like a Facebook or Instagram post that would subtly put Carnival in and make a little bit of influencer money that way. And then our third source of revenue for our MVP model would be using our pins. So our pins would be put on our map, and they would be like filtered by boot. So let's say there's a really good Italian restaurant, they would have the foodie boot, and the local restaurant would be able to pay to get on our map once we have a bigger community base.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone.
All right, I think that's what we have for the week. I don't believe we have